Aloha, my name is Sarah Hunt and I will be the host of this show called Better Government. Better Government is a series that is focused on improving the quality of life through better government practices since we're all in this together. Today we will be discussing the economy and things that are going around the Capitol. Joining us to discuss the economy is Republican Floor Leader Kymberly Pine, Republican Policy Leader Jean Ward, and President of Grassroot Institute of Hawaii, Jamie Story. Representative Pine, Representative Ward, Jamie Story, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being our host.
Well, let's get right into it and discuss the economy. But first of all, I'd like to introduce you to Jamie Story, who is the president of Grassroots Hawaii. For all of you that are not familiar with Grassroot Institute of Hawaii, Jamie Story, could you go into a little bit about it and help our viewers understand what you guys do?
Certainly, Sarah. The Grassroot Institute of Hawaii is what many people would call a think tank. We're a nonpartisan, nonprofit research institute, and so we're producing research on a host of policy issues, from taxes to education to healthcare, transportation, with the idea of promoting free markets and limited government. And we hope that the information we provide is helpful to our elected officials.
I'm looking at this book on your table. It's called the Hawaii Pork Report. I remember when you guys had the unveiling of that at the Hawaii State Capitol. Can you explain some of the things that are in there, maybe some of the content? What exactly did you guys produce?
Absolutely. This is our first ever Hawaii Pork Report. And what this is just egregious examples of waste, fraud, and abuse of taxpayer dollars. Some of these are programs that don't have good measures of results. Some of these are things we're paying for that haven't been in operation for years. One funny but sad example is an Artmobile. We were looking at the Department of Education budget and saw a line item for $93,000 for an Artmobile. And so we called the Contemporary Art Museum to find out, what was this Artmobile? You know, we haven't seen it driving around town. What is it? And they said, well, it's a traveling art gallery that's supposed to go to the schools so that students can gain an appreciation for the arts. The problem is it hasn't been in operation since 2001, yet taxpayers are still paying for it every year. So this is just a fun book of dozens of little anecdotes like that.
So the basic idea, and help me on this, the basic idea is that you feel that the government could spend your money differently. If you had the decision to, you could spend the money a lot differently than how government is spending our money. And so that is an example of the wasteful spending that government has created through spending our tax dollars.
Absolutely.
Just a little transparency offered to the public.
Yes, when we as individuals or as families have worked hard to earn our wages, and we've saved over the years, we're very careful with how we spend our money. We have a strict budget that we have to stick to. The state doesn't necessarily have to do that. Fortunately, we have legislators who do understand that, but not all do. And that's why you have people, it's much easier to waste other people's money than it is to waste your own.
It's kind of impressive in this economic situation how we can still afford to pay for certain devices like this Artmobile that you're saying. I think there are different priorities that should be taken into account, definitely. Representative Pine, Representative Ward, you guys are on the Finance Committee here at the state legislature, so you see everything going down with the budget, and you see all the bills that are being introduced to better this economy. Can you explain to us exactly what is going on at the committee? Because we don't see that on a daily basis. It's not something, we as the public don't get to tune in and watch what's going on. So what are some of the issues that are being faced with at the Budget Committee?
Well, I first want to congratulate my colleague here. We've survived marathon hearings. I think we broke a record for going from 10 a.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning. And we survived.
In the history of the state of Hawaii State Legislature, they said never before in the history had such a long hearing taken place.
Yeah, and so I'm so happy that we were there because I was talking to Representative Ward. What would life be like if the Republicans weren't in the legislature? We heard just about every tax increase that you could think of, every tax increase, every fee increase, and anything that they could increase on you, we heard. And we were really concerned about the philosophy as the meetings were going on throughout the week, that their core philosophy was just truly just to raise taxes on the people of Hawaii, not cut government spending like this bookmobile that we don't ever see and don't know where the money is really going. Not cutting certain programs, you know, that unfortunately would lay off some people, but we do need to make government smaller because it's gotten too big over a period of time. And you know, we had the leaders in the finance committee just asking us all for buy-in, saying, you know, we're all going to have to make some difficult decisions. And, you know, we raised our hand and said, you know, you're not going to have buy-in from us if your core philosophy to balance the budget is just simply to raise taxes on the people of Hawaii, because that's going to hurt our economy in the long run. You have anything to add to that, Jim?
First, I wanted to say that we are doing now in this set what the legislature should be doing. That is talking about the economy. Instead, we've got civil unions interrupting what we should be focusing on. We've got ceded lands. We've got so many things that are fogging over what otherwise is the primary issue of balancing the budget of $1.8 billion shortfall. That's a lot of money. And to say that the Finance Committee has been active is an understatement. It's basically the big funnel. Every bill that has anything related to money, even if it's 10 cents, goes to the Finance Committee. Sometimes they put it to the Finance Committee just to make it harder for bills to pass. But essentially we see and hear all the different kinds of issues. Some of them are great, some of them are really bad. Let me start with the greatest thing that I think has come out of the Finance Committee. And after 3 or 4 days of not sleeping, to me, I was elated to come out and to know that the people of Hawaii are going to save $200 million and the headache that ethanol has given them, because we passed a bill that says no more ethanol, no more sending the money to Brazil. $200 million is either going to go half back to you and half into the Treasury, but it's something that people have been so painfully forced upon them, and we know that ethanol requirements are 1 input for 1.2 points output. So it's not effective, we're getting rid of it. But on the other hand, in the same breath, we come up and say, you with HMSA, you with Kaiser program, health insurance, we're going to tax you now on top of what otherwise is a 29% increase in your premiums. The people of Hawaii are going to be burdened even worse with the higher cost of living. Another shocker yesterday was if the super ferry doesn't get its EIS 45 days after the session ends, we're going to shut the super ferry down. And we're going to charge them $40 million to pay for the barges and the ramps that have been constructed for them. I think some of those policies, in addition to all the tax increases that have been mentioned by my colleague, are not good for the state of Hawaii, are not looking in the long run, and particularly stimulating the economy with some of the tax credit. I know we don't agree on Act 221, but let's face it, 80%, almost 85% of all the people in Hawaii who work in the private sector. Having a depression or a risk of inflation is losing of jobs. If you push the employers with the tax increases that we can mention if we have time later, if we push those employers to lay off people, that's when the whole domino effect starts. And when businesses can't make it, contrary to the image that they are making it and that they will be strong, we're going to be in trouble. So yeah, the Finance Committee has a lot of power, but sometimes we make some great, but sometimes some very bad mistakes.